Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Petal Panther Football. Mark Easley alongside head coach Marcus Boyles. And sometimes when we come to do these coaches shows, it's difficult shows to do and maybe some difficult things to pick out positive from a game, but this is not going to be one of those shows. We took on the Oak Grove Warriors this past Friday night. Came out with a 49-28 win, and looking back over the game, you can really say it wasn't that close, but our guys played well. When you play in a rival school like that, a big game, there's a lot of things going on around the game, Coach. You had the Law Enforcement Officer Appreciation Night. You had the Great American Rivalry Series here producing and showing the game. And there's a lot of outside things going on, plus the rivalry that you have with Oak Grove and a tough division game. Leading up to that week in practice, had to be was it hard to keep the guys' attention?
Well, you try to shelter them away from all that. They probably didn't even know it was, Appreciation Night for the police. They certainly didn't even know about the Great American Rivalry. I tell them what they need to know, and all they need to know is Oak Grove. So, but you do try to just isolate them from those outside distractions and get them focused. And I thought our kids did a real good job, because sometimes you do, I like to say, you kind of play your game on Monday or Tuesday. You get so hyped up for this game, and I thought our kids, our seniors in particular, did a good job of leading our team and not letting us do that.
Yeah. Plus, I guess the elephant in the room, also a 3-game losing streak against those. These seniors had never really beaten them. Ed and I were talking about that during the broadcast of pregame, that hey, we hadn't beaten them since we've been broadcasting the games.
Yeah, I know. I was, thinking maybe it was y'all. I'm not sure.
Well, I did allude to that and said, well, maybe out of work after tonight.
Yeah, but and that's something we did talk to our kids about. Hey, we're on a 3-game losing streak, and it's a rivalry series, and I learned a long time ago. You better embrace this rivalry. It's kind of an Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, State, obviously on a smaller schedule, but the coaches at Ole Miss and State and the coaches at Auburn, Alabama that have embraced that rivalry have stayed there a long time. The ones that tried to make it just another game, they probably didn't last very long, because your fan bases want you to win this football game.
And coming into the game, we elected to defer and kick off. And pooch kick, we've done that a lot this year, and every now and then you'll see a team treat it like a punt, and that's what Oak Grove did.
Yeah.
Talk about the strategy of the pooch kick, number one, and how hard it is to execute it.
Yeah, we didn't want to kick it to their best player on offense, even though it was a kickoff return. But still, that number 33 is their best player on offense besides their quarterback, and we just didn't want to give them a chance for a big return. When we pooch kick it, really what we're wanting is for somebody to fair catch it or us to get a big hit. We want to get it, let them start their drive around the 30 or 35, and every now and then, though, you do get a turnover off of it, and that's exactly what happened. And, I know Oak Grove had worked on it, because it wasn't by surprise that we've been doing that. And so that kid just was a 17-year-old kid and made a mental mistake.
Yeah, let it hit the ground, played it like a punt, got away from it. Oak Grove was nowhere near it when we went down and recovered. It had it at 27, so basically we stole a possession in that game with us starting out the second half with receiving. But hey, took advantage of it on a big 4th down play. Had a nice touchdown pass there to open the score.
What a great way to start. And that's something we've not been able to do against Oak Grove the previous 3 years, is start fast. Have something good happen to us is always, we're trying to overcome and catch up. And when something good happens to you, you kind of get your confidence going.
And when we scored that touchdown, not even a minute into the game, you had to feel, hey, this may be our night. And as it went on, of course, it proved to be that way. But the first 4 possessions we had the football, drove it down the field and scored. And you couldn't ask for better offensive execution.
No, I was proud, because our offense has really struggled starting out the gate the last couple of games. We haven't started fast, and we want to start fast. Obviously, you want to finish fast, but you want to start fast too. And something we talked to our kids about coming out of the locker room all week. We talked about coming out of the locker room, being ready to play. Be ready on the opening kickoff. Be ready the first offensive possession. Be ready the first defensive possession. I thought we did a good job of that.
And we answered their scoring drive the first time they actually had the ball on offense. They had a big 80-yard drive, a 40-yard pass that was a pretty pass. Sophomore quarterback was pretty good.
He is. Plumlee is going to be a heck of a quarterback before he leaves Oak Grove. He is a guy that's very athletic and is learning how to play the position. He's still a young kid, like I said, a sophomore. But next year he's going to be a whole different animal.
Yeah. A couple of big plays we gave up to them, one of them being that 40-yard pass. But again, give them credit, made a nice window pass right behind the coverage in front of the safeties. They took it in to score, but we answered right back and didn't let that discourage us because we were focused the whole night of it.
Yeah, I thought, again, our offense just answered the bell. And you know, our defense, like you said, played well, gave up. And you remember we had a roughing the punter.
Yeah.
We should have got off the field, and we ran into the punter. If we hadn't done that, they don't score, and, you know, who knows what happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, a kid trying to make a play for us and just got a little too close to their punter.
21-7 after the first quarter, had a couple of Stephon Hutterson rushing touchdowns there to add to that first opening drive score, and 21-7, and then really had a chance after we went up 28-7 on another Hutterson touchdown. Had them 4th and 14 at our 31, and sometimes you just got to give credit to the other player because we had chances and we could not get a hand on Plumlee. He ran, I think he had calculated about 130 yards from one sideline back to the other sideline and then diagonally across the field on a 4th and 14 to score from 31 yards.
Yeah, if Oak Grove does a highlight film, that run would definitely make it because it was a ESPN moment.
It was. It was a top 10 moment for sure.
Yeah, and just, you know, what a great job by him, and we had some kids in position to make the play, and he made them miss.
And that made it 28-14 with about 9 minutes to go in the half. But even after that, we drove down again, and just a little miscommunication on the exchange at the 7-yard line because we were marching in on our 5th possession to score it again.
Yeah, and again, just trying to run power read, and Tanner thought he saw the defensive end do something, and then at the last minute he tried to pull it, and when he did, you know, it lays on the ground, and that was. You know, we thought we should have went in up 35-14, and maybe even 35-7, but we would take 28-14. We were getting the ball in the second half, like you said earlier.
Yeah, looking at the first half stats before we go look at those highlights, I thought, you know, when I did these, time of possession was so critical. It was a little over 2-1 for the whole game. But time of possession in the first half, we had the ball for just under 16 minutes, 15 minutes, 53 seconds. They had it for 8 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Their defense was on the field a long time, but we were over 156 more total yards in the first half, so everything was going the Panthers' way, but only up 14.
Only up 14, and like you said, stats, sometimes you can throw those things out the window, but I think time of possession becomes really huge in the second half.
It does.
You know, I think our defense had, at the end of the, you know, and I hate to get ahead, but I think in the first half, I think they played 26 snaps. The first half, I believe, is all they played. So that may not be exactly right, but it's
not off.
Yeah.
I had them for 23.
23. Okay, maybe that's what it was. 23 snaps the first half, and we were probably up there around 40 or so.
Yeah. So 44.
Okay.
You're right.
Pretty close.
Hey, this coaching thing's working out for you.
Working out pretty good for me. Yeah.
Let's look at those first half highlights as the Panthers went to the locker room up 28-14. back to the Petal Panther football show. Panthers went in the locker room up 28-14 and left some points on the field, as you said. And with the last two possessions of the first half and the way that first half ended, not that it was a good thing, but it was something that you could go into the locker room and say, hey, we got to stay focused because we fumbled on the fifth possession, and then we got the ball back on our last possession, had a chance to maybe go down and score again, but had a bad snap, had a sack. So some things went negative for us those last two drives that, hey, you can go in and sort of get on the guys about.
Exactly, and that's what we talked about when we came in. Hey, we're up 14, but the last two drives we haven't finished like we wanted to offensively. And again, defensively, I thought we were playing well. We gave up, one big play, but I guess two big plays, one pass play and one highlight run. But I thought defensively we'd settled in and played pretty good. But offensively, the last two possessions, obviously not happy. So something we talked to them at halftime about coming out, only up 2 scores. We need to keep our foot on the pedal, and I thought we did a good job of that in the second half.
Yeah, and receiving that second half kickoff, took it 61 yards the first drive, and then came right back on the second possession, second half, and scored again. Stephon Hutterson on the runs, and that's he had a night. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. But that sort of got some distance. But there again, another big play, kickoff return, and that's. We went back to the pooch kick after that one.
Yeah, we had been pooching it, and he had. Blake had missed one and just barely got it across midfield, and
that's
so
the one they scored on the fourth.
Yeah, I know. And so we said, well, we'll go kick one deep, and let him. And that was a mistake, and had a chance to make the tackle, but we don't. And he does a great job getting in the return. And once he gets in the open field, we didn't have anybody to go catch him. He's really a good football player.
But again, the sign, and that was after the first touchdown, the second half. A sign of a good team, though. We answered right back and drove down and scored and got that separation again.
Yes.
From that point on, defense controlled the whole second half.
And I think the time of possession then became huge, and the number of snaps we were playing. I think they had 3 snaps in the third quarter on offense. And so you get to see us start leaning on them a little bit on offense, and the whole, the line of scrimmage, we're establishing that new line of scrimmage down the field, and I think you see us starting to kind of physically take it to them a little bit.
Yeah, Xavier got that second touchdown. Stephon got the last one that closed the scoring out for the Panthers, but they had 1 first down in the second half until they started their last drive. Liberally substituting in, and they drove it 80 yards, and that was a big part of their offense. 30 yards too. They only had like 150 up to that point.
Right.
But good opportunity to get some young guys.
It was, and our defense played that. Put those JV guys in there, and they did a good job. And we had a blown cover. The guy again escapes pressure and scrambles around. When he did, our corner lost our 10th grade corner lost the receiver and got behind him, and the guy made a good throw.
Looking at the second halftime possession, I mentioned this before or during a break that we had it for over 17 minutes. They had it for just under 7. Total for the game 32-54 for us, 15:06 for them.
Yeah.
You have that time of possession, defense is going to get tired, and they said in that second half you can really see it taking its toll on them, and it paid big dividends for us.
It did, and if we can continue to do that, which we won't, but if we continue to do that week in and week out, I think we'll go take our chances winning every ball game.
There you go. The Panthers, with a 49-28 win, they tacked on one there late to make it a little more respectable. But again, a great night, a great crowd, great atmosphere with everything that was going on. As we said, it was good to be home, good to get that win against that rivalry.
Yeah.
And, let's look at the second half highlights and see how that 49-28 score came to be. Panther football show. The Panthers a 49-28 winner over Oak Grove this past week. And again, it seems like a broken record, but again, the offensive line doing a great job, Coach, and Tanner Estelle making great reads. But Stephon Hutterson, another great night. Had him for over 240 yards, 241 on 31 carries, 5 rushing touchdowns. Didn't catch a pass, which is sort of unusual, but man, on the ground, he had some great runs, just some very hard determined runs. Typical Hutterson runs.
It was, and he didn't play particularly well against Pearl the week before, and we talked about that in the coaches show last week. And you see him come out with a little bit more focus because he's, he wants to be the best player on the field, and when he's not, and especially when he played the way he did last week, you see a different kid the next week. You see him, and he kind of played with a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to prove to everybody, hey, I'm still the best player on this field. And he proved that Friday night.
I think he did. We all had ballots for the MVP of the Great American Rivalry Series.
Yeah.
And Ed and I said, it's no need to even come collect those ballots. Anybody in the stands knows who the MVP of that game is.
Certainly.
Again, and he's the first to credit the other guys, too, because he can't do it on his own. But, man, what an effort offensively and defensively we had.
Yeah, again, the offensive line, we told our kids all week, if we win the battle up front on offense and defense, we're going to win this football game. And I thought that really, they really just did a great job, especially in the second half. You could start seeing our offensive linemen really getting pumped up, especially when they kept walking people in the box and we just kept running the ball. Nothing is more demoralizing to a defense than when you run the ball down the throat.
We've been looking for 4 quarters of pretty good consistent play, and I think this past Friday night was as close as we've been all year. Obviously,
I agree.
I won't say a perfect game because we did make mistakes, but from an effort standpoint and focus standpoint, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, and that's what we want our kids to get to, and I hope they enjoyed that feeling and can continue to do that the rest of the year now.
You talk about that feeling now. Give them maybe a day to enjoy this past Friday night's game, but looming this coming week is the Brandon Bulldogs. They're 5-2 overall, 2-0 in the region, but again, another really good football team.
Yeah, they started out the #1 team in the state, preseason #1, and they had some injuries, and they lost a couple of games, but they're back on the winning streak now. They've won 3 in a row, I think, and so got to go up there. Tough place to play. Had 2 real big ball games with them last year, and so I expect a dogfight this year. And it's one of those places you enjoy playing, but it's going to be a tough place to play. The atmosphere is going to be great because the fans are right on top of you.
And probably the best defense we've seen so far this year.
Certainly. They're going to bring a lot of pressure from a lot of different places, and going to do it real good players.
Yeah. So this Friday night in Brandon, kickoff's at 7 o'clock, so it's going to be a big-time game in region play, and it's one that we need all the people there to help support these Panthers as we go on the road in a hostile environment, as you said, in a big region game. Both teams 2-0, so a chance now after some upsets this past week in region play, a chance not really to get some separation between these 2 teams, but to try to set yourself in pretty good shape for the rest of the way, the winner of this Friday night's game. So we need you there in Brandon for this Friday night's game. So hopefully you can make it. If not, always log on to petalschools.com or tune in to WMXI 98.1 for the broadcast. We'll be bringing that to you, but nothing like being there in person and experience the environment of high school football on Friday night.
I agree.
All right, so we'll see you there. So for head coach Marcus Boyles, for all the Panthers and Panther Nation, I'm Mark Easley. You've been watching the Petal Panther Football Show right here on petalschools.com.